let's get into it. Okay, so the recession.
Yeah.
The report has come out. Last Thursday it came out that we had two negative, which wasn't a surprise to anybody, two negative quarters of GDP. But the spin on it is that we're not in a recession. Jerome Powell said that, it's extenuating circumstances. So I believe she's the White House secretary, I think.
Yellen's
well, one of the sister, I don't know what her role is.
The White House correspondent,
His definition, but she. So they're saying that, yes, it's two negative quarters, but this isn't a typical recession. So, are we in a recession or are we not in a recession?
They sound like when I used to get caught cheating, and I'm like, baby, I wasn't cheating technically. We was on like a little 20-second timeout.
Black men don't cheat.
This was when I was a boy. So when I was a black boy, I was cheating. And I was like, hey, baby, I wasn't cheating. Like, listen, I remember when Bush was in office and those two negative quarters came in, Obama's entire campaign and Rahm Emanuel crafted that around, hey, this is the new candidate who's going to be president because this prior one failed you. I hate to tell it to you, but if we have two negative quarters in a row, we are in a recession. I was telling you guys last October, a storm is coming. Now it is here. If you remember me saying that, please put the word storm in chat. But we are in a recession. And the truth is, we had quantitative easing for 14 years. I was talking to Dom earlier. We really just are in a actual market now. You have to, here's a noble idea. You should have a company that produces profit for a number of quarters for the stock price for it to be high. What we had prior was remember when all the rich kids would get BMWs from their parents and Benzes and they were 15, 16 years old. That's what the entire equity market was the last 10 years. It was easy for everyone when Sequoia and Kleiner was cutting checks. Now we get to really see who is good, who is terrible, and now we get to usher in a new era. So yes, we are technically in a recession, no matter how they want to spin it. I know, for a president to have the recession on his jacket, that's like being in the hood and having snitch attached to your name. You don't want it because it's a guaranteed loss for Biden if they announce that we're in a recession. And I hate to say it, Big T did a little bit better. I hate to say it. Donald wouldn't have had this economic calamity on his record at this time, and he did a bunch of things wrong. But the TikTok thing, he was right about. The influence from China, he was right about. I don't want to make any Democratic enemies, but Biden has been asleep at the wheel, and we need to make a change. But yes, we are officially in a recession, as we told you we would be last year.
Yeah, and so they kind of spun it right with the definition, but they're kind of holding on to two key factors. And so this is straight from the Wall Street Journal. So as of June, the jobs report is what they were hanging on to. So 90% of the jobs that were lost during the pandemic have been recovered. Unemployment has remained at a historic low in 2022. And the U.S. economy has added 2.2 million jobs since January, nearly the fastest growth on record. The other part is consumer spending, which is kind of jaded if you think about it. So the large part of the economy is obviously the spending. And that's been good, right? Because consumer spending has been up. Household spending grew about 1.1% in June, up from 0.3% in May. That's straight from the Commerce Department. But if you think, obviously, inflation, prices of items are going to go up.
Are higher.
So if your prices are higher for items, of course, we're going to spend more. So it's kind of a jaded stat. Those are kind of the two things that they were like sticklers to say, all right, we're not officially in a recession because those two things are showing positive numbers. So it's kind of jaded, right?
So the stock market is rebounded last week. It had a nice little rebound. And I heard some analysts on CNBC say that the bear market is over and he expects stocks to rise towards the end of the year. Like it's going to be on an incline.
4,600 is what I call it by end of the year. And everyone's like, no, Ian's wrong. Listen, I try to only speak when I'm right. And then and I want to say this too, definitively going into this new year, new chapter of my life. Even if you don't like how I define or explain the market, you would make 15 times more just listen to the advice that I give. So even if you don't like the way that I package it, love the end result for you. And if I made you money, please put yes in chat. Yes, inflation has went up dramatically. Therefore, consumer spending is going to be higher. The thing that they don't talk about in the jobs market is what about the people who stopped applying? Do you want to know a true sign of a recession? The number of new entrepreneurs entrepreneurs year over year. Because if there was a strong job market, let's be honest, a lot of us had to make our brands work because we were unhireable or companies wouldn't see our vision. If we went into any media company 5 years ago and said, hey, we're going to get 2 amazing Black gentlemen that are well-groomed and we're going to get one that curses a little bit too much and rants, no one's going to be like, oh my God, that's a genius idea. What I saw on other platforms is no one would give you a clear answer to say, this company is terrible, this one is great. Apple did pretty well, $82 billion in earnings.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I keep saying, keep putting your money into Apple. But a lot of us had to invent ways for us to be able to take care of our family and help our communities because we were not given opportunities. If you look at the year-over-year growth, especially by decade, entrepreneurship is at its highest it has ever been since the 1920s. That is scary. Housing development, new housing construction is down 15%. Crashes are happening all around. I feel like they crashed the crypto market and took all the liquidity out to offset the losses they were going to have in real estate and the stock market elsewhere. Please be careful. We are in a recession and it may not last, or it may not be as short as we hope it would be. It may last and drag out for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So, all right, but if the recession is going to drag out for 2 or 3 years, why are you bullish? It sounds like you're bullish on the stock market, for at least for the rest of the year. So why do you think the stock market will go up or could potentially go up if we're going to be in a prolonged recession?
Yeah, we said in 2020, the stock market and the economy, especially if you're Black, they're two totally different animals. So the stock market is going to increase a lot faster, especially when you have a company like Apple doing $82 billion, which a company like Lucid will probably never hit that in 2 years, right? They are a printing press. Microsoft is a printing press. Bitcoin will eventually go back up when we have institutional buying. And it's really a market between owners and those that are being used. So if you are not an owner of these companies, you're on the outside looking in, being used. And I'm bullish on these companies because these are the few companies that are producing a lot of money in the market. And let's be honest, capital allocators have to put money to use regardless. So every quarter when money comes in, you have to deploy it. You can't just sit a client's money on the side for 5 years and not do anything with it. It has to be placed somewhere. So this is why I tell you, invest in indexes. Even though the world was falling apart, the companies that are not producing well, just like on the basketball team, if I'm scoring 2 points a game, or if I drop a dud on Sunday at InvestFest, I won't be back next year. That's why I'm making sure keynote good, show good, Ashley, me and her communication, making sure everything's smooth. As an entrepreneur, your job is to put up home runs every time you perform a task.
Yeah.
If you guys are at the party, I try to put up a home run. The merch, I say with Bam. I don't know where he got that Egyptian cotton with silk in it. Quit saying it's merch like it's a fashion line. Girl put the shirt on. She's like, what is this? It's nice. I'm like, I don't know what Bam got the cotton from. Hey, you have to put up home runs every time. And now you have to invest in the companies and assets. They're going to put up wins no matter what. Apple, Microsoft are one of those. Shopify hasn't been. Netflix hasn't been. ARC hasn't been. You have to cut the losers.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.